What do you have no intention of ever doing? Going caving. At least not into crevasses 5 inches wide, 2 miles under where humans are supposed to be. Nope. I've gone into a cavern where you can easily get stuck in this one spot that requires a lot of maneuvering without being able to see anything. That's not the hard part. What is army crawling with your class for about a half mile. Just reading that is freaking me out. Guess I'm a little more claustrophobic than I thought. Paying the $50 I owe Hollywood Video, or paying the thousands you owe the eyes. A guy I know actually owes over $3,200 in vehicle tolls. According to his bill he could have saved $700 if he had a toll tag. Heroin. It killed a couple of my friends. Frick that drug. Killed my friend today. 3 years clean myself. Soon to be 4. Sorry for your loss, and props for staying clean this long. Keep it up. Cheating on my girlfriend. Blink twice if she's behind you. Too late. She's suspicious and he's dead. I won't do meth. Not even once. If I was terminally ill and had weeks or months to live, I'd totally try it. I hear it's the greatest thing ever the first time around. It's nice, but it's dangerous. I wouldn't do it if I knew I was going to die. It's the last thing I would do. It's cool for like an hour. Then it's hell, you feel like crap. Now if I had some Xanax and morphine to come down with, sure. Going on a bender with everything right before I died would be cool. Tripping is better though. Forever and always. Drink and drive. If I ever go out with friends to drink, I'll make sure there's a designated driver and that he/she doesn't get wasted, or I'll volunteer for it. No point risking it all just for a couple of drinks. Thank you for saying this. I had a buddy of mine die in a wasted driving accident last weekend. Every one of my friends knows I have an open Uber policy for them. If you drink and you can't get home, I'll gladly call you an Uber on my account. I'd rather throw money away making sure my friends get home safe than have to see my group rocked by another death. The world needs more people like you. Judging by how everything's going so far, I'm going with getting my life together and acting like a responsible adult. Sob. I spent $300 on fruit snacks, children's cereal and alcohol yesterday. Is this adulting? If you earned it at a work job, then yes. Going to bed, apparently. It's 1 AM and I just finished playing Rocket League. I have exams on Monday. I should probably get some SL. Wait, lem just browse Reddit for 5 minutes before I go to be alarm rings. Frick. I do not envy you at all, man. I just finished all my exams a week ago. Good luck for your exams though. Running a marathon. I get why people do it, but I'm never going to. The first guy to ever do it died. I bet I can do better. Yeah, I'm with you. Philippides apparently ran roughly 175 miles in 3 days though, so I reckon dying was warranted. Having children. I'm sure I could be convinced otherwise, but until then I'm abstaining for procreating cause there's too many people in this world as it is, and children are economic burdens. My wife and I honestly decided we are just too selfish. Same. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. We could never bring a baby into this world, knowing how unable we would be to properly care for it. We can barely look after ourselves. Drinking or using again. Almost 9 months clean and sober. Congrats, man. 9 months is a hell of a feat. I had 6 months up until one slip up a few weeks ago, but I'm back at it again, and I know what I have to do to stay clean. Don't let the slip up discourage you. Many people out there would not have been able to go the 6 months, but you were able to do it. You know what to do, and I have faith you can do it. Making my goddamn bed. It's just going to get messy in a few hours, and I like how I left everything. I'm not even sure what the point in making your bed is. It was really vital for me to do in college, when my bedroom was my everything room. I'm really easily stressed out by messy surroundings and I need it for my room to be tidy in order for me to get any work done in there, or even just to stay mentally at peace enough to function well in school, given how much time I spent in my room in general. But my senior year, when I lived in an apartment, and since graduating, when my bedroom started functioning only as my bedroom and I stopped spending nearly as much time there, I stopped caring about making my bed anymore. I really only look at my unmade bed when getting out of or into it, and it's an out of sight, out of mind thing for me. But I can still understand how people who are even more bothered by untidy surroundings than I am could find it worthwhile to make their bed every day. I'll still make my bed if I'm planning to spend a lengthy period of time in my room, but I'm not often in my room without being in my bed. Invading Russia in the winter. Unless you are the Mongols. John Green would be proud. Diving. I'm sure there is an opera fish down there that is waiting for me. Bro. The nope fish are so cool up close. When I went diving, a sea turtle hung out next to me for like 5 minutes. He was the best friend I ever had. I dived in Thailand and was promised sea turtles, but I never saw one. Living in a state that doesn't touch the ocean. Michigan here. It's kinda the same but salt free. Was going to come here to say this. Living by Lake Huron has completely spoiled me for living anywhere without a body of water, fresh or salt. Cocaine. I'm nearing 40 and have never even seen it in real life. I'm 32 and have seen far too much of the Buddha sugar. I'm sure it's great and all, but I know I have an addictive personality, so it's best for me to avoid it at all costs. Heroin. Based on my past experiences with pills, I know I'd be an addict on day one, and that terrifies me. I have learned that the only painkillers I can take without addiction are NSAIDs like ibuprofen. I can't describe to anyone how much I love perks, Oxy, Vicodin. I adore them. When they're in my life, it's the closest to peace and security and God and love I'll ever get. It's the best thing ever. They completed me as a person, and some 8 years later, I'm only now starting to forget how incredible they made me feel. If I ever had to go into surgery and there was a chance of long-lasting chronic pain, I'd rather be in agony rather than flirt with painkillers again. It's a slippery slope that is way too slippery for me to ever deal with. I've learned that I can't imbibe those things anymore for whatever reason, because I will become an addict. Scary stuff. Purring kittens on a sleepy Sunday morning. Problem is, no one ever tells you that the kittens will steal all your money, drive away all your friends, or that the purring may be the last form of breathing you ever do. The kind of bliss I've experienced under the influence of those drugs escapes words, man. It's not that I'm fighting addiction every day or whatever, thank God, but that I realize that if I kept doing this, there would be nothing else in my life that could ever compare. Nothing compares to it. It is absolute joy and bliss and contentment, and it's so easy. You just take a few pills. Nothing else in the world does the things that those pills do. So, after a point, I had to say nope, no, never again. It would consume me, and for good reason. Everything in the entire world pales in comparison. It begs this weird philosophical question in my brain too. What if they weren't bad for you at all? What if you knew you had a limitless supply and wouldn't have to chase it down? What's the downside to feeling incredible all the time? Giving up all the hate you have at people in grocery store lines or people cutting you off in traffic? An hour or two with a head full of oxy feels like half a lifetime sometimes. What's wrong with dilating your time out? Who would I be hurting? What reason would there be not to spend the rest of my life feeling absolutely wonderful all the time? Tricky enough that I don't trust myself to even look at a perk ever again. I preferred them to oxys, which were a bit too much for me to function normally. I have no intentions of ever committing any kind of violent crime against another being. Self-defense I completely agree with, but I don't understand how somebody can have a cold enough heart to intentionally harm an innocent person. Your username made me think you were in the negatives, and for a few seconds I thought everyone was sadistic. Drinking alcohol again, smoking cigarettes again, snorting cocaine again, or taking an opiate again. I'm boring but not bored. In my experience, cigarettes have been the hardest. Good luck, I've got 5.5 years off everything but smokes. Paying for cable. Not needed anymore because of Netflix and the internet. Other than watching live sporting events, it's totally obsolete. You can easily find live sports streams online. There is literally no reason to pay for cable, except that those streams suck and constantly buffer and are grainy. I'm a big sports fan. I'll gladly pay $63 a month for my Comcast package with all sports channels just to avoid the hassle. Going out clubbing sounds like a bad time every time, so there is no way I will ever go clubbing. How do you plan to get the delicious seal meat? At first I was like, what in the hell are you on about, you lunatic? And then I burst out laughing. Thank you very much for that. You made my day. Falling for an internet scam. I always hear it can happen to anybody, even the smartest person. Well, I disagree. In order to fall for something like that, one has to be open to listening and buying into whatever the scam is. Those who know me well know I don't part easily with anything. Strangers may say I'm cheap, but if I'm reluctant to give someone I know $500, what are the chances going to be of me wiring money to some random internet stranger? No chance in hell am I sending any money to anyone unsecured. In order for a scam to work, you need to find out what someone values more than their money, make them believe you have it, and then offer to sell it to them. The Nigerian scam is predominant in pop culture, but there are plenty of mass email scams as well that prey on those who are religious or charitable instead of just greedy. The main places this breaks down are when someone knows not to trust sketchy emails from people claiming to have their heart's desire, or doesn't value what the scammer is offering, or is just plain loss averse when it comes to money, cheap. Most people have at least one of these with the mass email versions of the scams, as they are very poorly targeted, so not a lot of people actually fall for them these days. The few people who do tend to fall pretty hard, and sending out massive volumes of email isn't terribly pricey in comparison, which is why you still see these in your spam folder from time to time. Drinking, smoking, or drug use. Boo, boo, but why? Just lighten up, bro. Jeez. Get used to hearing that a lot. I feel the same way you do, but to a lot of people we are taking a totally intolerable stance and we need to be converted. It is possible that, by taking a staunch stance against drinking, you may miss out on some things in life. For example, it's not uncommon for business to be discussed over a few drinks after work. It could potentially hurt your professional career, depending on what you do obviously. Also, some people are put off by such attitudes because they think you are inadvertently saying you are a better person than them, because you don't use harmful substances. Just be aware of the consequences. Something as simple as having one drink a week with coworkers or friends could positively affect your life in ways you might not even realize. However, if you have a family history of addiction, you do whatever you need to do to not end up in the same boat as other addicts. Getting married. I'm with someone. I just don't see the point of blowing a ton of money on a ceremony and becoming legally bound. We agree on this. I married my wife 13 years ago, $50 at a justice of the peace, 200 forings total. We are the only one of our peers who haven't had a divorce. I'm not saying cheap weddings mean lasting ones by any means, but that there's more to marriage than an expensive wedding. It shows something, that you did not need the giant ceremony. Having kids. Other people can have them. They should ideally do this if they like kids and are willing to put in the financial, emotional, and legal responsibilities of doing so. I hope they become educated and conscientious parents and raise wonderful conscientious new citizens. But it's not for me. I lack the emotional patience to help educate a child. I do not wish to set aside the financial resources to feed, clothe, and educate a child, and I do not wish to incur the legal duties of a separate dependent human being that's completely dependent on me for its well-being. I like well-raised children. I greatly dislike badly raised children. I understand that the task is challenging, and I'm honest enough to admit I would do poorly at it. I'll live my life with other goals and motivations instead. I also give respect to those people who take on these responsibilities with courage and optimism and integrity.